God of the Swiss Alps, Discourse during the 2022 Seven Sacred Weeks on December 16th. Before we begin, let us behold the luminous presence of beloved God of the Swiss Alps. He is one of the God of the mountains, and is responsible for mighty electronic forces that bless Europe and the world. Now, feel his luminous presence flooding and surrounding you, charging you with his light and power, and let us dive into his words. Beloved God of the Swiss Alps told us, "Children of light, I joyfully bring you greetings from the Swiss Alps and all the great beings who live under our protection and guidance. Perhaps you cannot imagine how many blessings flow from our hearts to all humanity, and most importantly, to the masses who live in and around our main sphere of influence. I believe you know that people who need silence usually prefer to go to the mountains instead of the beach, because when they are in our lands, they breathe our electronic substance of light that is our own body, and then they feel calmer. The desire to talk widely disappears, their minds become clear, and their gestures smoother. This is the glorious gift of dwelling in our luminous embrace. That is why people love to approach us. Most of the time they have no knowledge of our existence, but they feel this calming activity in their own bodies and souls. Can you imagine how much training is needed before we are ready to take on the position of God of mountains? Think about it. Eons, my children, eons of time, until we reach a point of silence and peace that can never be disturbed by any discordant human condition. We need to remain still, contemplating only the divine plan of our sphere of influence within the luminous and unshakable mind of the silent watcher. Beloved ones, what do you think would happen if we were shaken by the confusion that exists in the external world? The electronic forces that sustain the balance of this planet would be disturbed, and gigantic cataclysmic activity would occur, and the waters would again cover the entire surface of this planet. I humbly believe that would not be pleasant for any of us. Think about it. If the mountains were torn apart, what impact would it be on the entire planet? It would be a catastrophe, my beloved ones, a great catastrophe. You see the destruction that happens when a single earthquake happens. Then visualize what would happen if all the mountains shook. Therefore, we who maintain these great mountains need to be completely stable and centered in perfect harmony. Otherwise, the balance of this planet would be drastically affected and the landmass would collapse and there would be no one left to tell the tale. And now, just as we were prepared to sustain the balance of a large region, you are being prepared to sustain the balance of thousands of people. And tell me, please, how can you sustain a multitude of beings if you cannot maintain yourselves in perfect balance? Do you understand? Like us, you are being trained to be mountains of light that radiate peace, sustaining power to an entire population. Now, if you are disturbed by external activities, how can you fulfill your mission? If we let ourselves be carried away by disturbing appearance, if the ascended masters, archangels, Elohim, and cosmic beings of light let themselves be carried away by disturbing appearance, who would be left in this world to sustain life for this evolution? Tell me, please, who would purify the water, earth, air, and fire? Who would clean the atmosphere of this planet so that the negative pleasure would not reach an absurd point where human beings could no longer sustain themselves in their bodies of flesh? Who would maintain the balance of this planet? Tell me honestly, who? My children, our greatest service is not through words, but through our example and radiation. You can say beautiful things, but if you face it with any problem or disturbing appearance, you lose harmony, entering into the fear and lamentation of the masses. You will not get anywhere. Do you understand me? You cannot lead groups of people as you are easily carried away by the consciousness of crowds and their fears. Exactly why you are being trained and tested at all times, because you needed to become strong and unshakable like a mountain. We, God of the mountains, have a lot to teach you, and we can help you immensely with your perfect balance. But for that, my children, you need to be more humble and more willing to learn. We want to teach you how to become vibrant, magnetic centers of peace, love, healing, and enlightenment. charting the ground you walk upon, the atmosphere you walk through, with God's qualities and perfection, to the point that everyone who approaches you or pass through environments where you have been are blessed and tuned in the same frequency of light. We want to teach you how to sustain this peace to such an extent that you become like the mountains, the sustaining power of God's perfection for the entire region around you. This is perfectly possible, and even before your ascension. You just need to say no to all discordant conditions and constantly charge everyone and everything with ascended masters, feelings, and perfection of lighting. Remember that the I Am presence in you is the same in all human hearts. So, through your cause and according to your harmony, it can flow like oceans of blessings to everything and everyone in your sphere of influence. I hold you in the calm presence and perfect balance of the great beings of the mountains. Thank you, God of the Swiss Alps. Dear hearts, this was the wonderful teaching from beloved God of Swiss Alps. I hope you enjoyed it and try to maintain harmony until you become strong and unshakable like a mountain. The next discourse I will record, you be the one of our beloved Master Ermoria, and I hope to meet you there too. Now, to end this video, let us again contemplate the luminous presence of beloved God of Swiss Alps, absorbing his light and blessings. May he engrave his teaching in your outer consciousness now, helping you to practice it in your daily routine. Thank you very much, dear friends, for this time together. God bless you, and I see you in the next video. Bye-bye.